the index is kind of more like the anchor, is how I think about it. Like I fret more with like the pad of the finger versus the tip.
Right, and that allows you to do, like, for example, if you have to do, which I hate, the minor triad on the top string where you have to sweep and you don't want the notes to run together, and it's just the bar shape. Yeah. So are you rolling the index there to?
Yeah. That's if I do
that sounds great, and
it gets harder on natural harmonic. Like 12th, it's noise. Yeah, it's trickier on certain frets, lower down, the kind of stretch, but.
So are you, okay, so when you start that pattern, here's a question that I have, because I've tried this and I suck at it.
Yeah.
So when you first start the pattern, the index anchor, are you on the G string at that point, or are you on the B and just sort of touching the G?
I'm trying to not think about it. I'm over it, but I don't think I'm actually touching it.
You're not really fretting it.
Yeah, I don't even think I'm making contact with the string yet. Yeah, I'm up. My index finger is kind of stiff and up, but all it takes is like I'm in a spot where as soon as I curl my finger, the B is done, the E I think the E is open, but at that point it shouldn't be ringing out. Yeah, definitely not touching it yet. Yeah, it's right above it though.
So then when you hit the G string, then it's more fingertip than it was before.
Oh yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, when I. Yeah, like very tip of the finger.
Gotcha.
Yeah, more tip than I would be able to use, say, in that example of like that's much more pad because with the level of tip, I can't touch the next string.
Got it.
Yeah.
So does the size of here's a nerdy question, the size of your index finger first joint, this little, the final segment there, does that need to be big enough to cover all three strings? Like a small hands person can still do this technique? Or when you're fretting the G string, it's not really doing the mute on the upper strings anymore?
Yeah, my high E string is a free agent here. Let's see. Yeah, totally. High E string is free to ring. You just have to.
But it's not. I'm not hearing it at all.
Correct.
You have the gate on right now?
The gate is off.
It's off, right?
I mean, I have an input gate. Let me see if I can.
But that wouldn't. I mean, if the gate were on, we wouldn't be hearing the pitches. So it's probably not the gate.
Yeah. I'll take a look. Really. I'll totally turn it off to the point of. Let's see. -33. Someone please remember that number. Okay. So there's just.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Same thing. I'm not touching it with either hand right now.
That's awesome.
33.
-33. That's your new metal band side project.
-33.
-3.
Can you sweep pick -33?
That's it. Yeah. I mean, how much of the tight rhythm is really just the gate set at -6 or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I often, right there's a good example of like, will the noise gate save you from sound?
Yeah.
I, like right there, it comes down to the technique. However, if I was to do like that would be more apparent, I think. You would like choking out like that because you get all sorts of like, that stuff ringing or springs in the back. Like.
What's the gate on now?
It's back on -33.
Oh, so.
Yeah, but,
so it's still there?
Yeah. Well, I had it all the way. I had it to the point where, like, let's just get where we hear. So we just have noise resting, right?
Yeah. That's nothing?
This is nothing, totally open.
What is that? Is there a way to just turn it off? Or you just put it at 99 or something?
Yeah, it's all the way, it's off now.
Oh, I see.
Let me turn. -33 was the number. Someone else remember 5. Well, actually, if it's off, it's not going to affect anything, so 5 doesn't matter.
That's dB, is that right? Is that what 33 is?
Yeah.
Like -33 dB?
Yeah, so if it's off, let's... Still fine. It's just to get rid of that noise.
Which you should turn it back on because our studio's so noisy, it sounds much better.
Yeah.
But just to be clear for everybody watching and also for myself, that's not what's making your arpeggio clean.
Oh, no.
No, that's completely because if the gate were doing that, it would be cutting off notes.
Yeah. I mean, what you just heard with those arpeggios was off.
Yeah, right.
There was no gate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just the psychological effect of hearing that noise once you stop playing.
Yeah.
That makes it sound dirtier than it really was.
Yeah, it kills the noise floor. That was just resting. We had noise coming through just stuff. If I yelled into my pickup, you'd probably hear it. Yeah, or if tapping would be.
We've got so many more electrical devices in here than I'm supposed to have. I've got 50 Wi-Fi Philips lights, and it's ridiculous.
I love it.
So maybe I used to have I have these noiseless pickups, analog noiseless pickups.
Yeah.
And they do a pretty decent job, but I mean, there's only so much that the circuit can do.
Yeah, and I mean the purpose of this too, also more than just for playing, I guess the function of having a gate prior to any amplification or anything like that is going to be basically what you are hearing is effectively noise that's being amplified. Right. So the idea of the gate prior to everything is to make what you play the only thing going in.
And I think, I don't know if this exists yet, but I'm sure that right around the corner is some sort of AI gate that knows what notes are.
Oh, God.
As opposed to having to pick a threshold.
Yeah.
It's just going to know, oh, that's playing versus that's just gunk, and I'm just going to get rid of the gunk.
There already is. I'm sure it's going to be more. There. I have my gate on classic. There is an intelligent gate. However, I don't trust that. What if that magic goes away?
Right, yeah. Because that's for the lead playing. You don't want it to kill.
Yeah, I turn my gate off for the. Well, I don't. It's not off. I'd have any additional gates because for super tight rhythms, I'll run a second gate. So it's just
Is that post amp? Or one is pre-amplification?
They're both pre.
2 gates?
Yeah. So on the Fractal, you have an input block, and that has a gate built in. Yeah. And then, I mean, there's probably debate on, I could be doing it wrong. However, I think it sounds fine. So you can have an additional gate as well. So the input block that you cannot get rid of has a gate built in. Mm-hmm. So I use that, and then I'll use a secondary gate for really cranking it down. Because I just want the input gate to touch get rid of the noise. And then I'll use the second one to make it where it's silent.
But you can't really get that with one gate. It works better with chaining them.
You can, but what I use it for is lead and rhythm. So when I switch to a lead tone, that secondary gate is gone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So it's just clamping down a little harder.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when you patch switch, it's just easier for the patches because the first patch just has the one gate.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I'll automate it depending on if I have in this song, I only have 3 tones. One's a really washy tone that I didn't switch to for this, but it's just all reverb and delay. But yeah, it's going to be both gates for the rhythm tone most of the time. I mean, I don't have to. Even this, I've been on the lead tone that whole playthrough, and it sounds. This is still pretty tight.
Oh, that's definitely a gated sound. It's just not obnoxious.
Yeah, if I am, but I think you run into stuff when you're playing at a concert, and it's 95 dBs. You start to things that we might not hear in here when you really crank it, you're oh, whoa, that's noticeable. So
you can hear. Well, you never hear yourself from front of house position, right?
No, depending on the venue. I like to pop one in ear out, and so I can kind of hear a little bit of, room, and it feels nice. And I like hearing my guitar just scream loud. When the leads are mixed extra loud, I'm sick.
You can hear that on stage, even though being behind the PA.
Yeah, it's pretty washed, but yeah, I hear it. Most of the time, though, especially busier parts, stuff like this, I'll keep both ears tied in because I don't. Right. There's just any delay and blast beat stuff I just get confused. Yeah, it's this is dialed in, and what I'm hearing out here has a delay, and it's washy. I'm which one am I listening to? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's funny because I have in-ears, and I tried them once recently, and it was just too weird. And they had a monitor wedge at this guest solo that I did. Mm-hmm. And I just used it. Thank God they had that because it was just so unusual listening inside my brain.
It's also incredibly unforgiving. It makes you feel bad. Yeah. So I listen to myself sometimes on the in-ears if it's just me, and it's there is no hiding. Just listening through monitors like this is so much more forgiving.
Even though it's the same mix.
Yes. And nothing's changed. It's just hearing the room. Yeah. With this, it's straight to your brain. Right. It's as close to your eardrum as you can possibly get it, and just such a perfect sound, and it's also isolated. Yeah. And
but the funny thing is to hear you say unforgiving, listening to the tone you're playing, there is nowhere to hide there.
Yeah.
That is, it's like my Atari 2600 has more sag than your power amp tone right now.
Right.
You know, like those notes are so sharply defined.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially if they're still working on technique, would be scared to play through something this crisp.
Yeah, and I mean that's something I wanted to do, like with this tone. Like I was saying, this was something that Andrew had made. This was like the live tone, but it's what has happened to it is I've changed like the PEQs, I've tweaked amp settings, and like what the Loper live tone was compared to this, it probably sounds like two different tones, but like the foundation is the same. But I wanted to take this and turn it into like a really lead-based tone and just like tight, like riffier thing. It was built for like sludgy rhythms, you know, and that's obviously not what like Ice Nine's really doing. So there's been a lot of tweaks that I made to get it to be that just like clear, unforgiving tone. Because you know, you think about it, like I don't want to have, like I want it to cut in a mix. I want it to sound good. I want it to have that, you know, that thing to it. And if you have a super washy tone, it doesn't feel like that. Yeah, I want to be up there and be responsible for my mistakes. You know, like, I want it to sound like real. Oh, yeah. Cool.
That's a wrap, people.
There it is.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.